right? How they behave as an individual and how they behave as a group member or the group level. And if we consider about the whole organization, how they behave, right? Then that means if we concern about organization at individual level, organizational level, and group level, right? That we are focusing about the behavior of people, right? Then we already, I think, discussed introduction part and the perception. Personality, right? And underneath.
Hello, madam.
Yes. So it got a issue with my the speakers. That's why, right? It's already stopped. Right, then okay. We already, I think, discussed introduction part and the perception. Sorry, personality, right? And under individual behavior, I think I already start the learning also, isn't it? The latter part of the previous session. Students? So I already teach you up to the what does mean by the learning and how it is important for the organization and also the classical conditioning theory. Can you remember? Learning means actually that is very, very important things for to continue our personal life as well as the with consider about the organization as well as a member of the organization also. So that through learning, because you know that we can capture new things, right? We can capture new things and whatever the things that we already not know, that we get familiar after we learn something. Right. So therefore, that basically that learning also comes under the psychology, right? That how the Sigmund Freud specifically explained that how the child education and the how they follow their parents to learn something by experience, right? So then. After that, actually, that it relate to the organization settings, right? How the people learn something. Then for that, organization theorists already did some experiments, and they already come up with the lot of theories to identify how we can learn the newcomers, maybe the newcomers, or maybe the existing employees. So if you want to change their behaviors, right? If you want to change sometimes their behavior, or maybe sometimes learn new things, right? Learn new things. So that to learn it, basically that we can consider two outcomes, right? Two outcomes. We are expecting two outcomes, maybe sometimes to learn new thing, right? So that you already doesn't know any, don't know anything. So that after learning that you can have some sort of idea. Maybe sometimes acquire new thing, obtain new thing, or maybe sometimes you are changing the existing behavior. Right? Through learning that we are expecting two outcomes. Two outcomes. So maybe sometimes to learn something new, right? To learn something new. Or maybe sometimes to change the behavior. So for example, that may be the bad behavior. Through learning or giving proper training awareness program, that we can change their behavior into good manner. So maybe that we are expecting those basically those two outcomes through learning. But here under learning, can you remember what are the theories? They already introduced by the different behaviorists. Theories, classical conditioning theory, right? So that each and every theory that they explain how the people learn, right? So specifically classical conditioning theory that already introduced by the Ivan Pavlov. Ivan Pavlov by using which animal?
Dog.
Dogs, right? Dogs. So that it led to the salvation and the conditional and unconditional stimulus and the response, right? Introduce the theory how we learn, right? Maybe sometimes by giving, how we can motivate to learn by giving some sort of punishments and by giving some sort of rewards, right? Some sort of rewards that we can learn something, right? We can learn something that already introduced by the Ivan Pavlov, right? By using dogs, right? Then again, like the operant condition, I think already I teach you about the classical condition theory. Anyway, that I will refresh. And if we consider about the second one, the operant conditioning theory, so that also introduced by the F.B. Skinner, right? F.B. Skinner that by using the pigeons and the rat, right? Skinner box, by using that Skinner box, then he already explained how the animals behave. So likewise that we also can through the experience. Then maybe a positive experience and negative experience. With the positive experience, how we strengthen our behaviors. If we reward something, that maybe that if you reward good behavior, so that is applicable for our day-to-day life also, right? If we reward, maybe give something, even the small one did some good thing, then if we give the toffee or something like that, then he will do the same thing again and again, right? But if you want to stop the bad behavior of the small one, maybe sometimes that you are punished, so that may be hit, so that we can use the punishment to control bad behaviors. So that is the one already teach by the Skinner, by using the mouse. That if we give some the reinforcement, that's the new concept introduced by the Skinner as reinforcement. Right? So by reinforcing, encouraging, reinforcement means actually encourage. So by encouraging people, so that by how we encourage, maybe sometimes by giving this positive reinforcements like the incentives, like caprices, like right time, thank you. So by doing those things, we can appraise people, we can strengthen the behaviors of the people. Right? That is positive reinforcement. And if you want to control the negative behaviors, bad behaviors, unethical behaviors, we can punish them. Right? So likewise, under the operant conditioning theory. Then the social learning theory actually through observation, by looking at the others' behaviors. So there may be some role models that may be the colleague or maybe the peer or maybe the supervisor, maybe someone, celebrities. So likewise, anyone that you can follow if you want to be that sort of person, that you observe their behavior and thereby You can learn something. You want to imitate their behavior, follow their behavior. You want to be act as that role model. So that social learning also that we are learning, right? So then basically that I'm going to then now explain about these theories and how it is important to day-to-day life, specifically to shape up applications in the organizations, right? To shape up behaviors. So those are the things to going to cover under today's session, right? So then okay, that I will refresh. I think I already explained these things, right? And up to what we call the condition and theory, and not condition and theory, that classical condition and theory, right? And today that we have to start from the operant condition theory anyway, that I will refresh the memory, right? From the learning, that we'll see what does mean by the learning, and first may have idea about the classical condition and theory, right? So, okay, students? Okay, madam. So, okay, then as usual, first we see what does mean by the learning, and then we'll examine that one by one, the classical condition and theory, operant condition and theory, and the social learning theories, right? Learn that it's actually the relatively permanent change of the behavior. So that we, through the experience, learn that it's actually the relatively permanent change of the behavior. So that we, through the experience that we can change, right? Change that is relatively permanent, that may be acquired through experience, right? Learning that we'll acquire through experiences. So that, can you remember what are the three theories? Classical that we use in these theories, because everyone, that we as managers, as teachers, as parents, so that we need to have understanding about how they can change the behaviors of the people. If there's an unethical behavior, maybe the child, maybe an employee, or maybe other person, if you need to change their behavior, if you need to change their behavior, that we can use these, right? We can use these theories, right? That already introduced by the first one, actually well-known scientist, Ivan Pavlov, dog rule theory, right? By using dogs, that he already explained the classical conditional theory. Right, so then if we consider about the operant conditional theory, that already introduced by the species Skinner, right? Skinner. So then the social learning theory, another well-famous scientist, the psychologist, also Albert Bandura, right? Albert Bandura already introduced this social learning theory. So if you need, please write down the things. I think that you know how the things remaining in our mind. So just only audible things, so visible, the audible things may be the very less percentage. And if it is visual, then we can add another 10 or 20%. But if you write down the things, then maybe that they may be last for a long term, right? It will confirm. But even though that you record, that maybe some listening to the things.
maybe those things familiar, not familiar to you, right? The words, the things not much familiar. So therefore that you should have ready to dedicate your time, get ready to do the study. Right? So at least the first, the only maybe only one day, yes, that maybe have so many responsibilities, right? That 5 days that you are working and maybe the weekend that you are having so many works, being a mother, being a parent, being a housewife, being a husband, that maybe have you may have a lot of works, but the thing is, if you not dedicated, that maybe your the final result may be uh, not much up to the expected level, right? So there, because you know that even though it's also the descriptive subject, but most of the concepts will be not much familiar, right? So if you are not listen to the session properly, or you are not interact with the session properly, that maybe actually the time is wasting and your money also wasting. Therefore, please be with me these 4 hours. Just I think you have to dedicate only 7 or 8 weeks. These all weeks that you have to ready for to be with the lecturers, right? So that because that we know that the online system is not much fruitful as we expect. Right? So that within the classroom that we can teach you more than how we use the methods to do the sessions in online. But anyway, that maybe much convenience you to do the lectures in your comfortable places. But the thing is actually that most of the things may be missing if you are not really attend to the lectures, right? So therefore, please dedicate. Otherwise, that don't blame me. If you are not passed the exam, that if you are not ready to dedicate your time, yeah, especially within these 7 hours, 7 weeks, right? Okay, then operant conditional. Then the second one is actually operant conditional. That means actually through encouragement, right? Through encouragement that we can teach the people, right? So that learning under the classical conditioning theory, right? Classical conditioning theory actually Ivan Pavlov used some dogs to do some experiment, how the dogs react if we give some sort of stimuli, some sort of stimuli. So stimuli means, in Sinhala we call uttejana, right? Stimuli means environment factor, maybe that motivate. Stimuli means actually, if we give something, that how we react for that. Maybe that, say for example, that maybe inspire us, maybe or motivate us to do for the reaction. That is stimuli, right? Say for example, that if we give incentive, then you will work out more, right? You will work more. So that means that by giving something, the stimuli, right? So by giving something that we expect to enhance the performance, right? The stimuli is incentive, then your performance means the reaction, right? Reaction. So can you tell me the sort of stimulus and the performances, the reactions? Maybe not with relate to the working condition, that may be for environment, anything. Students, can you tell me? So what are the stimulus? Or students?
Facility. Facility. Employee facility.
Asking the questions.
Asking the questions also stimuli, you mean? So that what is the reaction?
Answer for the questions, whatever, right or wrong.
There may be different, right? That may be the stimuli. You know that very well that maybe sometimes you already have the very good examples from your end that the biological or the likewise that if the fire, if we consider about the fire, that if we touch the fire, the stimuli is the fire, then if we touch the fire, that what is the reaction? So that stimuli and reaction. So that means if something touch that like the bad things, that it means the harmful, right? The fire may be that you know that harmful things. Then that what is reaction, that we quickly take away our finger, right? So likewise, that is the real world example. Likewise, if we consider about the organizations also, for the organization side, that we can give different type of stimulus to motivate people, right? So that by giving salary increasement, by giving promotion, maybe at least appraising them, right? That we can give some sort of stimuli. What is the expectation, the reaction from them to enhance performance, maybe to work harder, maybe to achieve the expected objectives. So those are the reactions, right? So the stimuli and the reaction. So that is the base one under classical conditional theory. Okay. That is teach by the classical conditioning theory. Then the occurrence conditioning theory, so that already introduced by the Skinner, right? So that Skinner, by using different type of animals like rats and pigeons, right? So that another way of teaching that he explained us that other than the classical conditioning theory, right? Classical conditioning theory that he already demarcated a lot of limitations related to the classical conditioning theory. So right, classical conditioning theory, and he already introduced the new theory. Actually, another classical conditioning theory he explained by giving some sort of stimulus that we can enhance the performance or we can change the reaction. That is the summary of the classical conditional theory, right? But operant conditional theory, that he explained not based on the current situation. So that here they're always focusing about the existing situation of the current situation on the classical conditional theory, right? That now I will give the food to the dog, then now I will give the incentive. And now I will give incentive. Now the managers will give the OT, then workers will do. Right? So other than to that, Skinner explained not only considering the existing situation or current situation, by focusing the expectations. Right, by focusing expectations, also that workers are engaged in working. Is that true? Is that true of all students? You already learned something, you already worked. True. Yes, exactly, right? So that what sort of expectations actually? So that means actually if you have expectation that you will receive a promotion in next year, right? that your manager is going to nominate you for the promotion, right? For the promotion. So then definitely that you will work hard, isn't it? Huh? Yes, right? So that here then under the operant condition and theory, Skinner explained due to based on the future expectation. Based on future expectations that workers or the people will engage in work, right? So then if we consider about, say for example, to get the promotion may be the positive side of expectation. Then another type of expectation may be that due to this economic crisis, that your organization wants to downsize, right? Your organization wants to downsize. Do you have idea about the downsizing? What means by the downsizing? So downsizing means actually the terminate of the group of people, right? Terminate layoff or terminate of the group of people from the organization, right? The downsizing. So downsizing means actually that maybe sometimes by giving some sort of compensation. So nowadays, most of the organizations already implementing this strategy, because you know that they cannot survive, right? They cannot survive, they cannot face for this economic crisis. And then always that the exchange rate is rising, then the expenses already increased. So therefore that they want to reduce the number of employees, right? Number of employees, that is downsizing, right? That you can use these words. If you are not much familiar, you know that even for day-to-day life also that we must very so much essential this subject, right? So that most of the organizations nowadays downsizing that they terminate group of people, maybe by sometimes giving volunteer compensations, giving some sort of package. They will ask the workers to leave the organization, right? Voluntary retirement by giving some compensation. So likewise, they use different strategies to reduce number of employees. Then that you already have idea that organization is going to use that downsizing strategies, and therefore you want to be in the group that organization wants to retain only very few. Maybe that 5,000 already wants to terminate, only 250 want to remain. Then you want to be belongs to that the survival group. That means that the organization wants to keep 250 group, that you want to be one of the member of that group. That means that you have an expectation to work more within the organization, right? To work more within the organization. Then with that expectation, that means sometimes to prevent negative reinforcement. Then I will explain these examples which relate to different concepts, right? So first one is actually if you want to receive promotion, right? Receive promotion. That means give positive thing or positive stimuli to increase positive behavior. Give some sort of positive experience to you, or give something positive reward. We call that word positive reinforcement, right? So I will explain the word without using that one. Just take the simple example, the positive thing, positive reward. By giving positive reward, we can encourage the positive reaction, right? positive reaction. That means you already have the expectation that you will receive the promotion in near future. That is positive expectation. Positive expectation to then you will change your behavior in positive way. Maybe while work hard. Likewise. Then the second example. The second example, I already take that example, cited that example, that you want to be a member of the retaining group of the organization. That may be to prevent, that you want to prevent the negative sanction, negative reinforcement, or negative thing, that the negative thing is that the organization wants to terminate some people. Terminate some people. So that future expectation is to, you want to be work more to the organization, therefore you want to be within the organization. To prevent the negative reinforcement, to prevent the negative future expectation. To prevent that now already, you are working hard. So likewise, that we can motivate people in different way. Maybe some giving positivity, or maybe some preventing some negative things. Did you get the point?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Maybe sometimes by giving positive things that we can encourage the positive thing. Or maybe sometimes by preventing negative things. Preventing negative things. Right? Preventing negative things also we can encourage people, because that you already have expectation in your future that maybe most of the workers may be terminated. That you want to prevent that negative thing. Right? Prevent that negative thing. Therefore, that you will, now you maybe work more harder to retain in the existing group. Right? Clear? Clear, students?
Yes, madam.
So, what about students that you already identify? What is the difference between the classical conditioning theory and operant conditioning theory? Nisansala? Nisansala?
Are you here, madam?
Yeah, is that clear?
Not yet.
So that what does mean by the classical conditioning theory and operant conditioning theory? So what we are expecting from the classical conditioning theory? So that here that classical conditioning theory is specifically, that is the summary, right? So the theory. Conditioning theory, it explains using the current situation. So that's how you react for the stimulus. So if you now give something as the promotion, or now we did something, so that they will consider, or maybe good thing or a bad thing, that we consider as the stimulus. How will you react with the current situation? Right? Stimulus is the reaction. Right? If we give some sort of stimulus, maybe to strengthen behavior or maybe to weaken behavior. Maybe the positive stimulus or a negative stimulus. If we give something, then how we react? Today we'll give something, now what is the reaction? If you give something to strengthen behavior to the employee, how they react? If they are out with relate to the current situation. But operant conditioning theory, they already increase, right? So that enhance. While identifying the limitations of the Ivan Pavlov dog group theory, by using actually we call it the classical conditioning theory or dog rule theory, right? So that they are considered only with the existing situation, the current situation. right? But operant conditional theory that they consider not only about the existing or the current situation, but also future expectation. So maybe sometimes in near future that organization decided to give a promotion, or in your career path there's a opportunity for you to have a promotion in future, next year, or within 2 years. So then with that expectation, how you work, right? So that is actually the most considered under the operant condition. With the expectation also, by giving some sort of expectation, how we change the behavior of the people. You can use these theories. Maybe by giving now rewarding them. Or maybe that giving some sort of expectation that you already have a career path. You can climb it. Here, this is your progression. Now you are here. Then, as the mere doctor. So that if we consider about your career path, students, what is your career path? Can you tell me? How is your progression? Lamai? ඔයාලගේ career path එක මොකද්ද? දන්නවද career path එක කියන්නේ මොකද්ද කියලා? So what is your career path, Dinusha?
Give the medicine and cure the patient.
So that is your responsibility or duty, right? So, but I'm asking the career path means actually that, say for example, as a clerk. Now, if I join as a clerk, then maybe you are senior clerk. Then you may be the chief clerk. Then you get promotion as the management assistant, or then the executive, then the manager, then the senior manager, then the maybe department head, maybe the managing director. So likewise, there's a career progression. Career progress වෙන විදිය. ඒක තමයි career path එක කියන්නේ. දැන් ඔයා maybe join as a junior MOH. Then senior MOH, grade 1, grade 2. Then what is the next level? So up to which level that you can reach? Can you reach up to the commissioner? So that is the career path. ඒකයි career path එක කියන්නේ. MOH විදියට එනවා ඊළඟට grade 1, grade 2 ඊළඟට කවුද වෙන්නේ? ඊළඟට කවුද වෙන්න පුළුවන්? අන්තිමට කයි යන්න පුළුවන් කොහොමද? So that is I'm asking. මොකක්ද ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ career path එක?
Junior doctor, grade 2, grade 1, super.
Grade 1, grade 2, up to that.
Grade 2, grade 1 man.
එච්චරද යන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට හැට යන්න බෑ.
Supra කියලා.
ඒ කියන්නේ grade 1, grade 2 වලින් පස්සේ ඊට එහාට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට don't you have any opportunity go for higher level like the commissioner? ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඒ structure එකේ කියපු level එක වලට යන්න බැයිද?
Madam, grade 2, grade 1, then specialized some subject, then supra grade.
So, okay. So that may be that your career path. So that if you want to encourage people, maybe sometimes that maybe sometimes not only the positive, right? By giving promotion like us, I already explained by giving example, there may be some downsizing program or terminate of the employees. So that maybe preventing negative future expectation by giving positive. So what the Skinner explained? What the Skinner explained, maybe that by giving positive future expectation. Positive future expectation also we can strengthen behavior as well as by preventing negative expectation, so that you know that the organization is going to terminate some people, so that negative expectation. Maybe sometimes you also in that group, you may be lost your job. So then you want to be work harder now to prevent that negative outcome. Right? So likewise, the two ways. So the Skinner introduced how can we learn, how we can learn or how we can make people to learn, how we can make people to learn by using expectations, right? They can change their behaviors. The people can change their behaviors, based on the future expectation. So that the examples he took already, that maybe sometimes you already have a promotion in next 2 years. So then from now onwards, he will work harder to get that with that future expectation. Maybe sometimes that negative outcome going to be happen in your future, then want to be prevent that one. Want to be prevent that negative. So that also gives some sort of encouragement to work, to engage in work, right? So then likewise, based on not only the current situation, but also expectations, future expectations also encourage the behaviors to learn. That is the idea of the operant conditional theory. Is that clear, students? Okay. So we'll continue.
Yes, madam.
Right? Okay. So that is about the operant conditional theory. Right? So that here under the operant conditional theory, as I explained you, the Skinner, right? I think here I already not mentioned the Skinner. Here it's not working. Okay, I will see. That F.P. Skinner, right? So that you can write down. And yes, I remember the initials, maybe a little bit you can check. Skinner, that by using Skinner box, right? Skinner, right? By using the Skinner box, right? So that I will not spend the time to show you that. Otherwise, actually, if you use maybe sometimes if we haven't had time, so that if it is okay, that I will show you that video, right? So that how the mouse, by using the mouse, that already Skinner already did this experiment. Then there's a rat in the hungry rat, right? That he used the hungry rat in this Skinner box. Then use the lever, right? The lever, you know, the lever in Sinhala we call kappiya. Here in the lever, right? So the lever that we can move, right? That we can move that lever. Then we use two rewards and one punishment. That means one is the food cup, right? Food cup by using food cup, and the other one is the electronic shocks, right? Electronic shocks, right? So that this is food for the hungry cat, hungry rat. Hungry rat, we know that positive stimuli, right? Positive stimuli. Then the electric shock may be the negative stimuli to the rat, right? So what he did by using these things, Skinner box, lever, hungry rat, and food cup and the electronic shop, right? So that he already leave the hungry rat into the Skinner box, and the hungry rat move here and there freely and accidentally, right? Accidentally that he push the lever. He pushed the lever, and once he pushed the lever, then the rat receive cup of food. May say, for example, cheese slice or meat slice, that sort of cup of food, and suddenly that light, green color light also. With the green color light, the rat already received food cup, right? Then the rat already move again here and there, and again push the same lever, and the second time also he received the cup of food. Then what the rat learned, then the rat, after that he already, by learning that thing, when the lever pushing up, there's the green light already lightened, and then after that he will receive the cup of meat, a cup of food. Then after learning that experience, after receiving that experience, already push the lever again and again when he wants to receive food, right? And also that he already set another lever, so that it accidentally, that rat already pushed that one, right? That lever, so that already light, already give a signal of red color light, right? Already gave the signal of red color light, and the rat already may become uncomfortable situation, maybe because there's a current shock, right? Already current shock already experienced by the rat, right? So then what the rat already learned, not to push that red lever, right? Not to push that red lever, and but to push the green lever, right? That he avoid. Right? Then through this experiment, what the Skinner wants to emphasize? What Skinner wants to emphasize by giving some sort of positive rewards, positive stimuli. By giving some sort of positive stimuli, we can encourage the we can experience a repetitive actions. We can have the repetitive action. So by giving some sort of present, some sort of positive, the pleasant consequences more like to be repeated, right? The pleasant consequences more like to be repeated if we give the positive stimuli, right? If we give positive stimuli, pleasant consequences more like to be repeated. But if you give the unpleasant stimuli, negative stimuli, the unpleasant consequences weaken. So that what the summary of this theory, if you want to have the repetitive pleasant consequences of the employee, we have to give some sort of positive rewards or positive stimuli. If you want to weaken their unethical behavior, if you want to weaken their unethical behavior, or that if you want to die, that some sort of weakened behavior, some sort of unethical behaviors, that we have to give some sort of unpleasant consequences. We have to give unpleasant consequences. So then how can we control, through learning, how can we control the people behavior? How can we control the people behavior? By using two ways specifically. According to the Skinner, that we can use two ways, right? So that I think that here the learning theory is a little bit confused. Please be attentively be with me, right? So otherwise maybe a little bit confused that we are not asking most of the time direct questions, right? Direct questions, then by using the case studies. Most of the time that by using case studies that we are going to ask the questions for you. So that's why I told you if you need that, because that already have 7 sessions, that if we allocate all the 7 sessions for the teaching process, that maybe not have enough time to discuss the case studies, right? Because you know that still I'm teaching you the individual behavior. Then we have to cover another 5 topics under the group level, and also another some more topics under organizational behavior. So then maybe we don't have much time to discuss the case studies. And if you need that, I can share that book, which I show you that to get the experience with the 15 cases and the answers, that how you have to answer for the case study, and how we can understand the basic things behind the case. Then there may be, we don't have that 100% correct or wrong answer. Right, correct or wrong answer, then while accepting those, justifying your answer, that how you write down the answer for the case study, right? So I think I already show you that that book, isn't it? Students?
Yes, madam.
Already? Yes.
Already showing book.
Okay. So then I think that if you need that, I can share that one. This is not the forcing you, right? So you just remind, because this is not much if it is not much familiar to you, that you can reach the knowledge and the way of answering for the case study. Huh? So then here.
Madam,
Can you please
shall we get the English translation for this book, madam?
Yes, actually that.
Sorry, madam. we couldn't understand Sinhala very well. That's why, please. It is possible.
Yeah, that I will, that those who can, actually that he can collect that one. Or otherwise that I will explain, because if I, if who cannot understand English, maybe it will get more benefit from that.
Yeah.
If you have that, then I can use 1 or 2 examples, right?
Yes.
From that one, then I will. Right? So that, the thing is actually that if you have that one, that easy me to explain the things, and also that you can have a good understanding about the way of writing that. How that we are answering for the questions maybe differ. Right, then that personal experience of mine, personal experience that I already engaged in the teaching more than 30 years, nearly 30 years now. So that not like for the direct questions, that's why that motivate me to write down this one, that actually students don't have much understanding about how they have to write answer for the case study. Right, that maybe sometimes that they already write down only the theoretical things. Right, if I ask the question which read the case study, they just focus only about the theoretical side only. Maybe sometimes most of the students, they will do the explain only the case study as it is, or maybe sometimes by using practical things they will explain. So, but the thing is actually that what you have to do, that you have to understand. So what is the theory behind that? What is this case already built? Maybe based on the perception, maybe based on the learning, maybe based on the more than that concept. So that while incorporating all these concepts by using hybrid mode. Hybrid mode means that you have to use the theory by referring to practical aspect.
Practical aspect.
Yeah, practical aspect. So that is the way that we have to answer for the question. So that's why without not maybe sometimes as I remember that already given Sudani or something like to with relate to your organization, some case studies. That one is clearly remember me because not like the other case that you already explain all the functions did by the nurses, then the functions by the doctors, all these things. But what we are expecting the thing is the OB theory. Right, OB theory, with that you have to link the case. Right, then you have to answer like that, so that I have to give that experience for you before sitting for the examination. So then that's why that definitely that I will use the English version to explain, right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think for your presentation day that Samita already asked me if you have that he can give for already used punishment also. Punishment also as another way of shape of behavior. Shape of behavior, so to introduce new behaviors. To introduce new behaviors of the people under operant condition, he already used two methods, right? Two ways. One is reinforcement, other one is the punishment. Reinforcement that we can use for increased behaviors. Increase their repetitive actions, right? Repetitive action. Then the punishment we can use to decrease behaviors, to weaken behaviors, to die up behaviors. Clear? How we use encouragement, how we use reinforcement, how we use punishment. So that's why, you know that, that's why the teachers, that's why the managers, that's why the administrative people under disciplinary, that they are using this sort of reinforcement and punishment. So otherwise we will not shape up the behaviors. Say for a simple example, then in the childhood, actually there may be so many friends that they will ask to have a cigarette. Have a cigarette. Then actually if you have the experience of that cigarette as a child, in your childhood, right? If there's no one to punish you, maybe sometimes you are addicted to the cigarette. So that means if someone not punish you, maybe your parent, maybe your principal or your class teacher, if no one punish you to weaken that behavior, maybe sometimes that you will addicted one for that. So likewise, if you want to, within the organization, within the society, right, within the society, that's why that we are using. That's why that we are using some sort of reinforcement methods and the punishment methods. That's why within the organization, it does latecomers. Maybe sometimes we'll cut off salaries to prevent that unethical behavior. If there's a conflict, maybe sometimes that we are giving red notice to weaken that behavior, to control repetitive actions of that behavior. Right? Already get the point, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Under the operant conditioning, under the operant conditioning, that we are using two ways like reinforcement and the punishment. Then under the reinforcement also, right? So under reinforcement also that we can identify, right? Apparent condition in theory here. Oh, right? Apparent condition in theory here that we can identify by using this example, right? By using this example, so that how can we use the reinforcement? The reinforcement that we can identify, we can use in the two ways. We can use two ways as the positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement, right? Positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. May be a little bit difficult you to understand what is the difference between the negative reinforcement and punishment. So that I will teach you. So that first you have to be clear in your mind. We use reinforcement to increase behavior, to strengthen behavior. And the punishment we use to weaken behavior. That clear? Is that clear? Reinforcement that we are using strengthen behavior. Right? Strengthen behavior. Then the positive or negative punishment we use to weaken behavior. Is that clear, students?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Then we'll see what does mean by this positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. Positive encouragement and negative encouragement. So that may be add or increase present stimuli. Right? So maybe sometimes given a student a prize after he gets an A on a test. So say for example, now maybe sometimes this reinforcement also identified as variable reinforcement, fixing reinforcement. Those things I'm not going to teach with you. But anyway, that we can take that examples. How we can give this positive reinforcement. Maybe totally based on the situation, or maybe sometimes we can leave them up to achieve desired level. Say for example, then if you want to get past the little marks, the A-level examination, right? A-level examination, maybe that each and every step that he facing for the exam, maybe that having the term test, first term test, second, third, likewise. Then each and every step that you can reward him. So if he receives more than 75 marks, so each and every step, if you want to encourage that to have 3 A passes in A levels, 3 A passes in A levels, so without waiting until he fails for the receive 3 A passes, that you can motivate him, encourage him. Encourage him how? Each and every successive step of him, you can reward. That means when he fails for the first term test, you can reward him. Then again second, third, the second year also likewise. Each and every successive step, you can reward him, right? So that we can use the same scenario for the organization as well. For the organization as well. How? If you want to increase the performance of the particular worker, if you want to increase the performance of the particular worker up to 50%, right? Up to 50%. So then if you evaluate him, when he reached 10% performance, then you can reward him, right? Then again, if he reached to 20% performance, again that you can reward him. So that actually rewarding means not only, there may be sometimes that you may get confused that how can, within the private organization, yes, that is not the huge barrier, right? That is not a huge barrier that they can use these methods by giving small incentives even. But that may be a little bit difficult for you to implement how you can increase. So that can you say any examples without giving monetary, not need to exactly give the monetary rewards. Maybe sometimes that you can give non-monetary rewards. Non-monetary rewards. So like maybe that by accuracy. Even right time, okay. Right time, okay also. The right time, thank you. And right time, okay. So when someone is finished a task, that we are very mercy. We are very mercy that we don't like to appraise others. We don't like to say thank you, say some sort of positive words towards others. Maybe sometimes if we call upon him to the stage, then ask others to give applause, give a big clap to him. So likewise, by using small methods, right, that we can encourage people. Maybe sometimes that he will much of that value than the monetary incentive, monetary benefit, right? The non-monetary benefit also that we can use. So can you say any examples that we can use as non-monetary rewards in your organization? What you can do? What you can do? So can you say any examples? What you can do that as non-monetary. So because maybe that will be difficult to give some sort of the monetary rewards. So, but without using that monetary rewards, what you can do to motivate your people? Huh? Students? What we can do, students?
We can give some kind of gift while we observing this special task.
So that giving gift also, maybe sometimes that also that you have to spend some money. But at least to send a note of appreciation to the personal file. So you already complete this task within this time that may be highly appreciate.
Yes,
So
we
like
are giving some remark also.
Yeah.
While filling the appraisal form also. Is it good or very good like that?
Yes, so that if someone need to have that, they'll be eager to collect that sort of letters. Maybe sometimes note of appreciation letters, maybe that like the appreciation in front of the others, or maybe sometimes within the department meeting, that you can select the best employee, best employee of the month, best employee of the week. So likewise that you can implement different type of that if you develop just spending little time that you can develop some criteria. How you can select the best employee. So those who report first that you should have to be aligned. You have to be punctual so that you can consider about the punctuality of the employee. Then maybe their work, their attendance. So likewise, by using some sort of criteria that you consider the best employee of the month. So likewise, by using the small techniques, strategies, right, that you can implement these things, right? So here that actually the reinforcement, through reinforcement, what the skin expect. Basically the two things. One is to strengthen behavior, right? To strengthen behavior. So for the strengthened behavior, he used reinforcement. Right? Reinforcement, or to weaken behavior, he used punishment. Right? Reinforcement and punishment. Then the strengthened behavior by using reinforcement also, we can identify positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. Positive reinforcement, easy to understand. Easy to understand because reinforce by giving something. By rewarding something, prize after, he gets marks on the test. Likewise, maybe giving something is positive reinforcement. Then the negative reinforcements may prevent negative thing. Right? To strengthen behavior, prevent negative happening of negative things, maybe that you can prevent. Right? So that, say for example, that likewise earlier I already explained the downsizing case. Or maybe sometimes if we consider about the imprisonment of someone is in prison, so that you know that if he behave in right manner, if he behave in right manner, sometimes they will reduce the time. If the total period in imprisonment, if it is 20 years, so that he behave in good manner, ethical manner, so that we can reduce 5 years. 5 years from total 20. So the total imprisonment may be 15 years. Right? So that by preventing the negative thing, we strengthen the behavior. So what is the strengthening behavior here? Ethical behavior of the prisoner. Ethical behavior of the prisoner. So we strengthen the ethical behavior of prisoner by preventing negative. Right? The preventing negative reinforcement. Did you get the point, students? How can we strengthen behaviors by using positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement? Is that clear?
Yes, madam. Yes, clear.
So then, what is the difference between negative reinforcement and punishment?
Madam?
What is the difference? Negative reinforcement and punishment. The main difference is reinforcement is always strengthening behavior. Right? Strengthening behavior. But punishment is weaken behavior. So maybe sometimes by adding unpleasant thing or reducing a pleasant thing. Reducing pleasant thing, you know that if child, say for example, if the child is always addicted to the phone, so that means if you want to weaken that behavior, then what you did, maybe sometimes that you are not giving pocket money. To weaken that behavior, so that you reduce pleasant stimuli. By giving money, maybe pleasant stimuli. You are not giving pocket money. You are reducing that pleasant stimuli to weaken that behavior. Right? To weaken that behavior. Maybe sometimes same thing can apply for the organizations also. That if you want to weaken the attendance, absenteeism. Weaken not attendance, weaken absenteeism. If you want to weaken absenteeism, what we can do that that we already cut off the leave incentive. The pleasant stimuli is leave incentive. Right? Reduce pleasant stimuli. Reduce or remove pleasant stimuli. So the remove pleasant stimuli means that we already reduce their attendant bonus. Attendant bonus to weaken absenteeism. To weaken absenteeism, to weaken behavior. Or may directly positive punishment, maybe sometimes can add a fine as absenteeism. If you take more than 5 days leave, we will charge a fine from you. Fine. We charge a fine from you if you absent more than 5 days. So add something. Add a fine to weaken that behavior. Add a fine to weaken that behavior. But the difference between punishment and reinforcement, the reinforcement actually is strengthening behavior. Maybe while adding or removing. Removing unpleasant stimuli or adding pleasant stimuli. Favorable. Add some favorable thing. Add some favorable thing, maybe by giving incentive. You can strengthen behavior. You can strengthen behavior. So reducing unpleasant stimuli. Reducing unpleasant stimuli. So if there's a very hot environment, then if you want to remove that hot environment, we provide AC to the organization. Right? So that you reduce unpleasant stimuli, the hot environment. Then the behavior, strengthen the behavior. So maybe adding pleasant stimuli or removing unpleasant stimuli, you can strengthen the behavior. As well as adding unpleasant stimuli. Adding unpleasant stimuli. So that means the adding fine for the absent people. Adding punishment for the to reduce absenteeism. Or maybe best removing pleasant thing. Maybe that removing or cutting down attendant bonus. Weaken the behavior. Weaken the behavior. So you know that how we strengthen or how we weaken behavior according to Lee's learning theories. So that how they schedule the absenteeism bonus, the how that we give, how we motivate people aligning with these theories, the motivation theory, learning theory. The people who are well aware about this theory, they already suggest that we have to give attendant bonus, that we have to give this sort of things to motivate people. So otherwise not merely apply those things into organizations. So like that we have to charge things, we have to cut down salaries, that we have to implement this sort of program promotion scheme, we have to introduce this type of incentive scheme, bonus scheme. So all these things that you can see how we use positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement, as well as positive punishment and negative punishments to strengthen and to weaken the behavior of people. Right? Is that clear, students?
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
So if you have any doubts with relate to this? So if not, we'll continue.
That we can have a meeting and appreciating in front of the others.
And reinforce. We can motivate. We can encourage people. Right? So that means add or increase the pleasant stimulus. Right? Then the reduce or remove an unpleasant stimulus. Reduce or remove unpleasant stimulus. So that negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement. So that unpleasant stimulus. Reduce or remove unpleasant stimulus. Right? So that means actually that's for example for the fees. Now here already given example, taking the painkillers that eliminate pain. increase likelihood, likewise, the painkillers that may that remove the unpleasant stimuli. So, say for example, another the cited example, I will cite example which relate to the organization. With regard to the organization. So, in the office, maybe sometimes that you already have an AC. So that due to this changing weather pattern also, now you know that the theme of the world. Do you have any idea about now what is the new theme? The new theme of the world. Environmental change, the climate change. New theme of the world is now the climate change, right? The climate change, though due to the increase of centigrade, due to the huge increase of centigrade. So now you know that in the office sometimes very hot, right? So that very warm and very hot that we cannot sometimes do the work properly. And therefore that if you give some sort of AC to prevent that unpleasant environment, unpleasant stimuli, to reduce that unpleasant stimuli, that more if you give, if the worker worked hard, if they achieve target, then you will reward them with the AC. That means either increase pleasant stimuli or maybe say reduce or remove unpleasant stimuli. Right? Reduce or remove unpleasant stimuli. So that by using these two types of under reinforcement, these two ways, we can strengthen the behaviors of people. Right? We can strengthen the behaviors of the people. Then if we consider about the punishment, why we are giving punishment to the people, students?
To avoid their bad behavior.
We want to weaken the unpleasant stimulus, right? So with the repetitive actions of the unpleasant consequences, right? The repetitiveness of the unpleasant consequences or unpleasant ethical behaviors. Unpleasant ethical behaviors normally that we are using this punishment, right? Like maybe for negative behaviors that most of the time that we are imposing negative things. Say for example, for latecomers, sometimes that we are imposing fines. Maybe sometimes if the applicant did some sort of wrong thing when they apply for the promotions, then we'll give not. They will not nominate for the promotion. Right? Maybe sometimes if we want to discourage the absenteeism, if you want to discourage absenteeism, how you can weaken that unhealthy situation in your organization? Weaken absenteeism. Maybe sometimes you cannot recommend for the promotion for absentee people, right? So that by weaken that absenteeism, you cannot recommend, you will not recommend them for the promotion, right? Maybe sometimes positive way or negative way, right? Positive way or negative way, sometimes that you can impose the punishment, right? Maybe the percent or add unpleasant stimuli that you can give unpleasant stimuli to weaken, and sometimes giving the students extra homework. Those who are not attentively for this. Sorry for disturbing that. Stop.
Done by Skinner, or so we call this.
So that here that I think I already okay. I think that I already explained that part very well. How that operant under the operant theory, how we use the reinforcement, and the what we call the reinforcement and the punishment to strengthen behavior and weaken behavior, right? Under operant condition theory introduced by the Skinner. So that I think here that if we have the opportunity now that I'm going to show you how the Skinner use that Skinner box, right? Skinner box to identify this strengthening behavior and weaken behavior. So by using this experiment, actually, we already did this series of experiments by using pigeons and by using rats, series of experiments to introduce this new concept as reinforcement and punishment, right? So even for the learning, that means we call the education. So education streams also that we are using these theories basically to develop the child education. So that's why some examples already relate with the child education. So the same theory that we are using for the development of performance of the employees also, right? In organizational context and the organizational behavior. Right? Then we'll see that how the Skinner used this Skinner box to identify this theory, right? This operant conditioning theory, right? That may be very easy to grasp and to remain the facts in mind by looking at this video, right? Write down the initials as FB, right? The initials already other way.
Thanks for clicking on this video. I welcome you back. In our previous lesson, we learned on the classical conditioning by Pavlov and Watson. In today's lesson, we will learn the operant conditioning by B.F. Skinner. In this video, we will learn what is operant conditioning, the experiment done by Skinner, or so we call the Skinner box, the types of reinforcement, the types of schedule of reinforcement, and lastly, the education implications. What is operant conditioning? To learn the operant conditioning, let us look back at the background. B.F. Skinner, he propagated the operant conditioning theory of learning, and therefore he is known as the father of operant conditioning. Now, his theory was based on earlier psychologist work, that is E.L. Thorndike, if you can remember, the trial and error theory of learning. Here, Skinner, he was more amused in the law of effect. Therefore, he began a series.
So that, do you have any idea about what does mean by the trial and error theory? Trial and error? Do you learn in the things by doing trial and error?
No, is it let's try, after it will make mistake, after again try that theory?
Yes, exactly. So that if you do something, Then if that one is did you wrongly, then you will learn through that. So learn by mistakes, right? Learn by mistakes. So trial and error. So that do the things and then you already learn how to do in correct way, right? That is the trial and error. So here also that the rat also use the trial and error method, right?
Series of experiment on the animals to find the consequences of the rewards in repeating and maintaining behavior. Now, after a series of experiments, he introduced a new term into the law of effects, that is reinforcement. Coming back to the question, what is operant conditioning? Operant conditioning is a learning process in which an action or a response is made more probable or likely to happen again or more frequent by reinforcement. Now, to understand this in a very simple term is to know this principle. So what is this principle? If an action or a behavior has a pleasant consequence, it is more likely to happen again or to be repeated again. But if an action or behavior has an unpleasant consequences, it is less likely to be repeated. So according to this theory, behavior or action which is reinforced tends to be repeated and strengthened, but behavior which is not reinforced tends to die out and weaken. Now let us look into the experiment by Skinner, or so we call the Skinner box. B.F. Skinner, he conducted a series of experiments with animals like rats and pigeons. You must have heard about the Skinner box. Now, Skinner box, it is a specially designed apparatus. It was actually a modified form of the puzzle box, which was used by Thorndike in his experiment with cats. Now, this Skinner box was a soundproof box. It consisted of a grid floor, a lever, a food cart, and a system of light or sound produced at the time of delivering food in the food cart. Now we know the Skinner box is a soundproof box and what it all consisted of. The question is, how was it arranged? The Skinner box, it was arranged in such a way that there will be a lever inside the box. So when a hungry rat goes and presses the lever, the feeder mechanism will be activated. When the feeder mechanism is activated, a light or a special sound will be produced, after which a small pellet of food will come out of it into the food cart. To record all this observation of the experiment, the lever was also connected with a recording system that produces a graphical tracing of the lever pressed. With all this arrangement now for a real experiment, Skinner placed a hungry rat in the box. The rat was moving around the box and accidentally pressed the lever in a certain way, which resulted to a click sound or light produced, and then the appearance of food pellet. The rat randomly pressed the lever again and gets the reward, that is the food. After some time, it realized that there is a connection between pressing lever, the click sound or light, and then the reward, that is the food. The rat was rewarded for each proper pressing of the lever. Therefore, it realized that it will be rewarded with food, and ultimately the rat learned the art of pressing the lever. Talking about the rewards, let us look into the types of reinforcement. The first is positive reinforcement. What is positive reinforcement? In a positive reinforcement, a behavior or response is strengthened by rewards, leading to the repetitions of desired behavior. For example, we have seen the Skinner experiment in the Skinner box, where the hungry rat presses the lever and gets its food as its rewards. Seeing the rewards, the rat repeated the action again and again, which was the desired behavior. Another common example of positive reinforcement in a classroom scenario will be a teacher praising the child for doing his homework. Here the teacher uses praise as a reward so that he will encourage the child to continue doing his homework even in the days to come. The second is negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement is the termination or removal of an unpleasant state following an action. It strengthens behavior because it removes unpleasant experience. Skinner showed how negative reinforcement works by placing a rat in his Skinner box and then subjecting it to unpleasant electric current. As the rat was moving about with discomfort, it accidentally pressed the lever and immediately the electric current went off. After some time, the rat learned to remove the discomfort by pressing the lever, thus removing an unpleasant situation by doing an action. Another example of negative reinforcement in a classroom scenario will be not giving homework to the students or actively participating in the classroom activity. Here the award is no homework to the students. As homework is often perceived as something negative, the teacher imposes no homework to the students so that he will encourage the students to actively participate even in the upcoming classroom activities. The third is punishment. Punishment is the opposite of reinforcement. Now, negative reinforcement and punishment can be very confusing because it looks very similar, but punishment is adding something negative to discourage undesirable behavior, whereas negative reinforcement is removing something negative to encourage desirable outcome. Example of punishment will be spanking a child for not doing his or her homework. As we already know, positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement is very important for a child to train and to learn a desirable behavior. But we can't keep on praising or rewarding the child forever and every time whenever they do something good. Yet the good effect is still important. That's when reinforcement schedule comes in. Now we will look into the different reinforcement schedule. 1. Fixed interval reinforcement schedule. In this schedule, the child is rewarded for a response made only after a set interval of time. For example, a child being rewarded after
you just maybe that enough to know about the meaning of the enforcement, not the how the fixed and variable, all these things not much necessary, right? So itself view the meaning and social
development of teaching machines as well as programmed learning. So that is all in this video. Thank you so much for watching.
So I think that you already seen that video, right? So that you already learned, confirmed what I teach you. Maybe that add more information about the operant, condition, and theory, right? So is that clear now?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then this is the last, right? So this is the last theory that under the learning theory, right? Under the learning theory that we can use the social learning theory, right? Social learning theory, SLT theory, right? SLT theory, the social learning theory. So I think the word itself gives the meaning. Social learning through society, right? So through society that we can learn something. Maybe sometimes that by looking at the behaviors of the society people, maybe your parents, maybe your friends, maybe any other person, right? So the social learning theory that was already introduced by the Alfred Bandura, right? The well-known another psychiatrists. That means the Bandura that already teach us by looking at the behaviors of the other people. Now, that means simply we can say through observation, through observing the things, right? Through observation, that we can learn something. So how to behave. Sorry. Maybe that is very similar to the Sigmund Freud's. Did you learn about that theory, the Sigmund Freud's theory? That how they are already concerned about the sex wise, right? So that by looking at the behaviors of they will act more attached to the little boys, more attached to the mother, and little girls more attached to the father. And here the clear difference between what taught by the Sigmund Freud and Albert Bandura. The Bandura not consider about the gender, right? Not much concern about the gender, either maybe the gen or women, right? Men or women. But if you take him or her as the role model, we can learn, irrespective of the gender. Irrespective of the gender, if you wish to follow him, if you consider that person as a role model, by observation that you can modify your behavior. You can shape up your behavior. You can change your behavior. That is actually the social learning theory. Social learning theory, under social learning theory, more focus about the observation, right? Through observation, the people make them to learn new things. People make them to learn new things, right? Based on the direct experiences, right? Through observing the things, actually, maybe sometimes, for example, simple example, if you don't know how to paddle the bicycle, maybe by looking at the ways that you can, by observing that direct experience, you can learn that. Maybe sometimes those the people who associate with us, the superiors, with the superiors, we can learn. Right? Maybe sometimes that if you consider your superior as the role model, that you can totally change your behavioral pattern by looking at how he behaved. So that's why that this theory actually that we are using most of the time. For the, say for example, like internship, for the lawyers, for the doctors, you know that we ask them to follow the internship. For the doctors, I think the whole final year, they had to work under the one superior doctor, one senior doctor, right? That is internship. Then you should have to learn under him by observing all the things, how he behave, how he teach, or things that you have to follow him. Then again, for the professions like lawyers, for that also that we are using SLT theory, right? So that the team of probationary lawyers or newly entered lawyers, they will ask to learn under superior lawyer, right? The senior lawyer, right? So before they embark on work, they have to undergo training, right? They have to undergo the training. So that here, in this theory actually, basically, I think you also have, right? So the doctors also have to undergo some interns, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, I think that. So that is actually that using the way of using the theory, right? The learning theory, that how we can use for our education system in our work settings, right? So that through the social learning theory, by observing the behaviors of the others, so that why that we already given that sort of interns, that by looking at the behaviors of your superiors, that you can take some only the good things, not the bad. There may be some, there's no 100% complete people. So that by looking at the good things that you can imitate, you can grasp the good things from them. So that to learn by experience, most of the time, through observations, how to learn, that we'll teach by the social learning theory. Right? So that these are the steps actually that how it happens, how the social learning theory happens, that explained by using these steps. Typically based on this social learning theory based on the observation. Right? So they will use the people as symbols, as the cognitive models or the role models. Right? Role models. Then they will use those role models to guide their behaviors. Right? Guide their behaviors. The people learn indirectly by observing. Vicariously means by observing the behaviors of others. Right? Then people exhibit that behavior. So by observing those behaviors, that how they take as symbols. They take as symbols. They like to exhibit behavior, or they would like to imitate the behaviors. Imitate the behaviors. Right? So then how the banduras, actually that is the definite. So here, these are the models, so actually the steps. Right? So these are the 5 steps, right? The steps you just attentively select some sort of model, right? The symbol. So that maybe that your superior, maybe one of the celebrity, maybe one of the, maybe in some your parents also, right? Father or mother. So maybe the giant leader in the world. So that you consider that model, right? That model you already select as a guide model. That is a symbol. You take it as a symbol, that role model. Then the forethought. Forethought means actually that you already think that he may be that this is the way of behave, that you already have a plan, that by looking go through the model clearly, that you already identify these are the behaviors, set of behaviors. So why you select that person as your role model? Maybe due to his leadership, maybe due to his personality, maybe due to his appearance. So maybe use the person looking, right? So that all the things you guide. You already have the plan or the guide, and they already how he behave, how he talk, how he maintain interactions with others. All these things they you plan, and then you already observe correctly. So whether your plan, whether your expectation already match. Maybe that your role model, by looking at the role model, that you already have some sort of plan, idea. He may be this sort of behavior. So then by looking at their behavior as it is, then maybe through observation, if he is very your superior, your supervisor, then definitely that you can have direct contact with him. So then you can observe their behavior very closely. The personality, then the way of teaching, the way of dressing even, That's why some people that through social learning theory, you know that Malinga already had the hairstyle, the young generation already used that. Even by social learning theory, the Diana, you know the Diana cut, all these things already. So that most of the time our young generation already use this SLT theory. Most of the celebrities, they consider them as their role models. Then they try to imitate their behaviors, right? Imitate their behaviors. So exhibit that they want to behave like that. Maybe if you select Mahatma Gandhi or if your superior as your role model, so through the observation, then you want to exhibit or imitate that behavior. So you also exhibit the way of talking, the way of dressing, how he behave, that how he talk with others, how he work with others, how he maintain personal relationships with others. So those things you will learn. That role model, that not only the one role model, there may be so many role models in your life, right? But another thing also add here. That's self-efficacy. So that you have to keep in mind, there's another new word I think for you, self-efficacy. Self-efficacy means actually the person may have positive attitudes. In your birth, maybe that how you perceive the things. From your childhood, if you are a positive attitude one, always that you are looking at the things in positive way. So these things also that you applied in positive way or by considering as it positive way or maybe grasp all the positive things from there. But if you are always a negative person, negative attitude, self-efficacy means actually that how you perceive the world, right? So that if someone already have the positive attitudes, then he will perceive in positive way. If someone already have negative attitudes, he always look the world in negative way. So all these things, even though that you consider as the one's role model, then the observe, then the imitate their behavior, then there's one thing influence that. One thing influence that is your cognitive model, the self-efficacy, right? That how you imitate up to what extent, or up to what extent may be influenced by your mental model, right? Your cognitive model or mental model, your self-efficacy. If you are very positive one, then always all these things taken as positively and behave positively, right? Always if you are negative one, always consider all these things in negative manner and you also behave in negative manner. But even the role model already have the positive things, right? So that you may be perceive it as a negative one, that all these process, the thing is actually all these process will affect by your self-efficacy, right? So the self-efficacy, your mental model. If your mental model is positively created, that you already take all these processes positively. Positive things you will grasp. Maybe sometimes even negative one also, if you consider that maybe you concern as the positive way, that you look it as a positive way. So how will your mental model affect to this process? Influence to this process. Okay? That is the self-efficacy. So these are the 5 dimensions of social learning theory. The symbols, forethought, so the observation, vicarious or the observation, and the self-control and the self-efficacy. So you will consider as a simple some role model and you will plan their behaviors and action like this. Then you closely observe their behavior. Then you will try to imitate their behavior and try to exhibit their behavior. And finally, all these process will affect your mental model, right? Your mental model. Clear, students? Is that clear? Okay. So then we'll see what is the difference. The behavior, the classical conditioning theory, operant conditioning theory, and the SLT theory. Observing. Vicariously means by observing the behaviors of others. Right? Then people exhibit that behavior. So by observing those behavior, operant conditioning theory introduced by the B.F. Skinner, then the SLT theory introduced by the Alfred Bandura. Right? So what is the main difference? Right? Main difference between these two theories and social learning theory. So if we consider about the previous two theories, they already introduced the reason, stimuli, and action. Right? Under the Pavlov's classical conditional theory, Pavlov introduced, if we introduce the conditional or unconditional stimuli, we can see the reaction. We can see the reaction. And also operant conditional theory also, if you introduce expectation of the future stimuli, then they will react again. Right? The stimuli and the reaction. Again, stimuli and the reaction. But there's a black box, unexplained area. Black box or the unexplained area that already identified by the Bandura. What is that unexplained black box? Actually, when we introduce stimuli, the people will look at a glance at one time, they will change their behaviors. They will not react accordingly. They will take some time. They will take some time. That is actually the cognitive process. Cognitive process. That means the internalization process. That means the personalization process. They will determine, they will take some time. They will take some time by using their mental process, whether I have to do the reaction, whether I have to follow him or not, whether I have to act according to the stimuli or not. That cognitive process introduced by the Bandura. So the both other two theorists, both other Pavlov and the D.F. Skinner, already forgot about that and neglect about that part, how the mental process work out before the reaction. Stimuli, reaction. They already considered about the stimuli and the reaction only. Both theorists. But against to that, Bandura already introduced about the cognitive process or the mental process or the internalized or the personalized process. Before we react, there's a cognitive process. There's a mental process happen. Right? So what is that mental process? Here he already identified the attention, retention, reproduction, and motivation. Right? So be attentively. We attentively select something, then we'll keep that in our mind. Then we keep that in mind, and then we reproduce that one, exhibit that behavior. Right? So based on the motivation. If we have idea about if we exhibit this positive behavior, they will reward us, then we'll reproduce that behavior. Then if you have idea about if we exhibit this type of behavior, they will punish us. Maybe sometimes weaken that behavior. Right? That mental process already identified by the Bandura. Clear?
Yes, madam.
Students, clear?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Have to be with me, right? Right? Okay. Then, right. So then here, that with relate to the social learning theory, right? With regard to social learning theory, that how we use this mental process, right? So say for example, the attention, right? So you know that there may be 1,000 if you go to the town. If we go to the town, so there may be 1,000 people that we can meet. But each and everyone that we are not remain in our mind, right? But maybe attentively, if we are attentively select someone, right? If we are attentively select some person, maybe sometimes like the like some sportsmen, maybe sometimes like some artist, maybe that you are superior. So if you more like the person, that he may be that person already attract your attention, film star or sportsman or a senior person, then you will pay your attention on that model, right? On that role model. So then the second step is that you observe that person's each and every character and you that keep that in your mind, right? You will keep that in your mind, remembering what the model did, right? But keep that in your mind, remembering what the model did, right? And you like to imitate the model's behavior, like to imitate model's behavior. Then the reproduction, right? The people must have the capability to imitate. Maybe sometimes that if you see the, say for example, why I said that, maybe sometimes that you can imitate, you can exhibit the same behavior, but maybe sometimes you cannot. Say for example, that if there's a 18 years girl that who already dance on the ice, by looking at that one as the 19 years old lady, can you follow? Can you follow such same role model? Why? Why you cannot follow?
We don't have the time.
Age is.
Yeah, ability means the barrier. The age will act as the barrier. Right? The age will act as the barrier. So therefore, people must have considered the capacity, even though sometimes we will not reproduce our behaviors. Sometimes we don't have them be the so many barriers. Social barriers, maybe age barriers, maybe sex barriers, capability barriers, competency barriers, skill barriers. So then there may be different type of barriers to exhibit the same model behavior, the same behavior of the model. We cannot exhibit because there may be some we cannot reproduce. There may be some barriers. And then they have to clearly determine whether we can reproduce this behavior. We can exhibit the behavior or not. So after thinking that, again, that motivation, there should be some sort of motivations also to imitate that behavior. So that if you consider as your senior as the role model, then what he did, that maybe that you will keep in your mind and you will exhibit. You will exhibit that, you will reproduce that behavior. So, but if he did the wrong thing, unethical thing, even though he is the superior, you already observed him behavior, there may be some positive and negative. positive and negative things in the role model. But if you catch up some sort of negative behaviors, maybe sometimes before exhibiting that, you have to consider about the motivation. Yes, I already learned a lot of positive things from my superior, and also there may be some negative things also. We all are not 100%, we call 100% perfect persons, right? So then if I exhibit those things, what will happen? If it is negative, if you receive negative consequences, negative result, then maybe sometimes you will not follow that. But if you reward it for the positive behavior, then you will exhibit, right? So those are the mental things, mental process. Maybe for these things not take much time to learn something by using SLT theory, so that automatically, what most of the time automatically will the learning process, the theories, sometimes the current conditioning and the classical condition theory, even though we already learned by using the hours and hours that they being human skills or being human beings, maybe that will not take much time to give stimulus, what will respond, what will react. That will not take much time. So that here also maybe sometimes according to SLT theory, that you should have to pay attention, retention, reproduction, and motivation, right? Did you already explain this? Did you get the point what mean by the SLT theory?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
So then here, that another thing actually, that what we can use, so that we can use the negative reinforcement to shape up the behavior. To shape up behaviors most of the time, we can use these desired ways that you can use positive reinforcement. Now I think that you already have idea about how we can use these things. So what does mean by the positive reinforcement? Negative reinforcement, punishment. I think you here that I already explained 4 different bullets. Already explained by me 3 different bullets, except one. What is that? Extinction. Yes, extinction. That you already have idea about positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, and punishment? Yes, yes, clear. So the extinction, you know that within the organizations, what does mean by the extinction? Behavior is not reinforced at all. So that we neglect, totally neglect. So we will not pay even our attention. We will not pay our attention, right? So that extinction means actually totally neglect. You know that there may be some gossips. There may be some the people already get to use to spread out some rumors, gossips, kelam. So those things. So if you are totally discouraged and not neglect, totally discourage those things. Maybe sometimes, you know, if being a superiors, maybe sometimes most of the lower people come to your office and tell all the kelams. So tell you all the gossips. So, but if you're not encouraged, that the first time, if you refuse, so please go out. I'm not ready to listen to your gossips, your rumors. And then don't come to my office to waste time. So likewise, if you, in first time, if you discourage them, if your behavior is not reinforced at all, not encouraged at all, not encourage at all, right? So that means the expansion. So better way that if you want to discourage, if you want to totally dead, if you want to totally dead that behavior, that you can use that extension, right? Don't reinforce that sort of behaviors at all. That you can use the method of extinction, right? Extinction, right? That is the way of behavior that you can use punishment, extinction, negative reinforcement, or positive reinforcement. Positive punishment or negative punishment also there. So that by using different methods, reinforcement, punishment, or extinction. Reinforcement, punishment, or extinction, right? So then by using this method, you can shape up the behaviors of the people. Clear?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Here that maybe sometimes if you use that, right, if you use the method that SLT theory, Bandura's SLT theory, the famous experiment he also did by using Bobo doll, right? That if you're interested to do that you can go to the YouTube and you can watch that Bobo doll experiment, right? Bobo doll experiment, what the Bandura did, that he wants to identify whether the people learn by observing the things. By observing things, he already used the Bobo doll, right? So Bobo means that a special type of doll. When you are beating the doll, that he already telling us Bobo. So that's why we use Bobo doll, right? So that for the little ones, already he took some nursery, the kindergarten children, right? Children to do this experiment that he already divided those little ones into two groups. One group, they immediately put them into the classroom, with the adults, right? In that group, the adults already behave in very aggressive way towards the Bobo doll. Maybe sometimes by using harsh words, maybe beat them, then hands and legs, by using their hands and legs, they already beat the Bobo doll and already present very aggressive behavior. Very aggressive behavior towards the Bobo doll and the other group. Then other group already by use the Bobo doll, but neglect that Bobo doll and played with the other toys, right? Toys. Then the second day they already use those children, only the children, not with the parents. Then observe the behavior. Observe the behavior of children. Then what they did. In the classroom with the aggressive parents. With the aggressive parent, the children also followed the same behavior towards the Bobo doll. They already use harsh words and behave very aggressively towards the Bobo doll. But if you consider about the other group, they already play with the other toys while neglecting Bobo doll. So that how the small ones, how the people observe the other behaviors, they learn the theory. By using that experiment, the Bandura already introduced this social learning theory, right? So then the nice stories, with the nice stories actually, that we can learn this social learning, all the learning theories. right? All the learning theories. Then if we consider about the applications, so how we can use this learning for the discipline management, right? You know, either by using punishments or negative reinforcement, how we can use this in the leave management system, well-pay and sick pay leaves, that maybe to promote, to encourage, reinforce behaviors, how we can use this leave system, maybe sometimes to reduce absenteeism, maybe sometimes that you can give some sort of incentives, those who are not take this leave 100%. So then we can, we want to strengthen that behavior, reduce absenteeism, and increase the attendance. However, strengthen behavior that you can reward. Those who are not take the fully their leave, that you can reward them. So do you entitle how many days for a leave?
Annually 21 casual month.
Annually 21.
Yeah.
So that means seven casual days, or likewise so?
No, the head of the department or institutional head permitted only they can get, not for right.
Okay, 21, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, and also training and development procedures. You know that specifically that we learn how we can, through observation, how can we learn by using that negative and the positive reinforcement, self-management, ethical behaviors to manage by ourselves, that we can strengthen some positive behaviors and weaken negative behaviors. Ethical behavior, teamwork, work attitudes, values, each and every steps that we can use this learning theory within the organization. So how much this is important for the applications, practical implications of the organization. Then I think under learning, there's another increasing trend of the very important concept. Another very, very important concepts like the knowledge management. Like to know that knowledge management, is especially related with the today's information system. Right? Information systems, how we gathered information, how we shared information, how we disseminate information. So likewise. So you know that if you want to be a very competitive in this competitive world, business world, if your organization, if you want to convert your organization as a learning organization, right? That organization learning and learning organization, two different concepts, right? Learning organization means always your organization is like to acquire new knowledge, right? Like to create, like to acquire and transfer new knowledge to modify the employees' behavior, right? Employees' behavior. Is that your organization also learning organization? Always try to cope up with the changing environment. Right? Adaptive learning means adaptation to the environmental changes. That par with the new technology. That like to change with the new innovations. Then new creative things. Generative learning and adaptive learning. Adaptive learning means that you will, otherwise you cannot survive. So what had happened to the, what we call the dinosaur? So they cannot change with the environment. if you want to survive, as an organization, yes, definitely that we have to change. If you are not use the technological, new technologies, that always using the attendance, all the manual systems already. All the manual systems, maybe sometimes you cannot survive as a organization, as a department. So therefore that we have to use this adaptive learning. I have to change with the environmental changes. As well as that we should have creativity and innovation. Creativity and innovation. Have to openness to creativity. Have to embrace with the embedded with the creativity and the innovation. I have to welcome new things. Right? Then the characteristics of the learning organization, whether you can decide if you have these characteristics as an organization, then definitely your organization may be a learning organization. Right? So that whether your organization is receptive, accept new ideas, and overcome pros controls. Then the developing system thinking. So you know the system thinking as a whole system, right? The whole system, if any system will not, the part of the system will not properly work out. So that if we consider about the body, the whole system, if one system is not work out properly, what will happen to the whole system? Right? So then maybe sometimes that your hypertension, maybe that your heart, kidneys, all the parts should be work out properly. Otherwise, the whole system will not work out properly. So likewise, the system, the whole system, all the parts of the organization, right? HR system, then the operation system, then the medical system, then the laboratory system, then the what we call board system, all the systems. So what else are the system? What are the other systems in your organization? OPD. So what are the other systems that you are?
Truck manufacturers.
Oh, sorry?
Truck manufacturers and herbal garden.
Okay. So that like the OPD systems, then the board systems, that different type of systems that already have in your organizations, right? So all the systems would have to work out properly to be a learning organization, right? OPD system.
Rehabilitation.
Huh?
Rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation. Okay, rehabilitation. Then this explained by the previous. OPD system efficacy. So that means there should be proper career path, promotion scheme, self-efficacy. So that, and also is the sense of empathy and sensitivity. So have to be concerned about the workers in empathetic way, sensitive way, right? So if your organization have this sort of characteristic, that means definitely your organization work out as the learning organization, right? Learning organization. So, okay, this is the end of the session of learning. I already teach you the three different, what does mean by the learning, how we can use practical, in practical aspect of learning, and the different theories of learning, how we can use that concept into the applicability of the practical implications of the concept. All these things I already teach you. Then before winding up the session, do you have anything, students?
Sorry, not winding up, giving a break. Right? So if you don't have that, I will give you the break and start, right? Okay, now we'll start about the last topic coming under the individual behavior. So that is about the perception, right? The perception. Okay, by introducing the importance and the things why we should have to learn about perception, all these things. I just want to know about by looking at this. What you can see. By looking at this picture, so students, that by looking at this picture, so that what you can say. So can you see something by looking at this picture? So that Manoraj? So Cynthia, Shanika? Can see anything that by looking at this picture?
Yes,
Yes, Shamila?
there is so many pictures inside the pictures. Small pictures.
So then what are they?
In that male ear, there is a lady picture.
Yes, there's a man's eye that we can see the lady. So then what else?
In that lady's eye, there is a lady.
Yes.
But the picture
And
is
that
not
we
that
can
much of
identify
clear.
that the lady is wearing the big hat.
Yes.
In the eye also that we can see some other picture. So in the two faces?
Yes.
In the two faces also that we can see that one is the guitarist, right? So someone is playing the guitar wearing a hat. That's in front of that the lady is hearing something like.
He's bearing a
About the hair, there's something in about the head. Lady. Some things they were the ladies get.
Sorry?
Some goods about the pots like small pots like about the ladies get. Like small pots.
No, she's touching, I think, hat.
Not.
Yes, that lady is wearing a hat. What Varmeshram or someone told?
There's a heads of pot on her head, madam. That's what he said.
Yes, that so many things. That one thing that you already miss. Yes, we can from this same picture. So maybe some students that cannot see, some students can't see. So then here there's another thing also. Other things also that in between these two ladies, right? That we can identify the glass, right? So you can see this like the glass, the wine cup, something. So then by showing this picture, that what I want to say even though the same thing, the same maybe that is relevant not only to the picture, right? So that if it is a situation, maybe sometimes that is a person, right? That may be the picture. So that whatever the thing that may be relevant to the picture, that may be relevant to the work situation, that may be relevant to the person. So then whatever the object, the way of looking at the same picture, same situation, same person, the people's interpretation may be different. Right? So whatever the things that you can see, that someone cannot see. So that whatever the things someone can see, that you cannot see. So then that may be based on your different criteria. Maybe that you are going to see the picture based on your previous experience, or just by looking at whatever the knowledge that you are having, just by using your five senses, you just look at the picture and give an interpretation. So then the things that how we interpret maybe differ based on different criteria. For that have impact on perceiver characteristics. The perceiver characteristics means if you are the one is explaining the picture, the characteristics what you have. So maybe sometimes your knowledge, your experience, your attitude, right? So then all these things, your intellectual capacity, your brain capacity, so your interpretation. So all these things based that the one characteristic. So one is the perceiver characteristics. So likewise that the object characteristics. So other than the perceiver characteristics, that there may be some objects that if it is a person, that the person's characteristics, or if it is a situation, the situational characteristics also have an impact, right? And also the environmental facts. So that all these three criteria have an impact on the interpretation of the object, right? So then through perception actually, that what we are going to understand, that within organization when we are working with people, how can we perceive those different people, right? Those different people, those different situations. So then how can we give a meaning for that? So that is the basic understand about the perception. Under the perception that we are going to learn about, that you already have the idea about the now the individual behavior. So that when we consider about the organizational behavior, we should have to focus about the three levels as individual behavior, then the group behavior, and the organizational level behavior, right? So what are the topics that we should have to learn under the individual behavior? Remember? Huh? Plus, what are the things that we have to learn under the individual behavior? So I think that I already shared with you all the notes, right? So that did you receive the Toby note?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
The
madam.
perception also, right? This one also received?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Okay. So then we already that under the individual behavior, right? Under individual behavior, that is visible, right? I think it's
Skills development.
yes, right? So under the individual behavior, so that under organizational behavior, that we are going to learn about how people behave within organizations, right? How people behave within organizations, so that people that we can identify as individuals, right? Then not only the individual people being there, that being together, so that all individual people get together, so that because in the workplace that we cannot work alone, so we should have to work together. So then that we can identify a group of people. And under the group of people, not only the group of people, when we are working, that we should have to deal with the organizational processes. So like what sort of organizational structure that you have, what the organizational culture, the different procedures, different processes. So then under organizational behavior, that we are going to examine the how individual people behave and the group of people behave and how they interact with the organizational processes within the organization. So therefore, under your syllabus, that we should have to focus about under individual behavior, that we should have to learn about at least that perception, personality, and the learning behaviors other than to the introduction, right? Learning. So that we already did these two, right? So under the introduction part also we did, and now that I'm going to discuss with you about this perception, right? So under the group level, is that we should have to discuss about the conflicts, then the leadership, then the team behavior, the power and politics. And at organizational level, that we should have to focus about the organizational culture, organizational change and development, organizational structure, right? So I think that organizational structure, the leadership, maybe that to already discuss under the management also. So then we can think about, right, that when we are doing. So here, then when we consider about the perception, right, the perception actually that we should have to learn about this sort of things to avoid or to mitigate, right, to mitigate some perception errors, right, that you can see that when we are doing some perceptions, right, when we are perceiving things that maybe people interpret the things in different manner, maybe sometimes totally deviate from the reality, right? So therefore that we should have some sort of idea about how the people perceive the things. So what sort of the factors that what sort of things impact on these decisions, right? So these things that we are going to discuss under the perception. So then here this as usual, when we consider about the objectives, that we are going to define the perception, then understand perception process and influencing factors that we can identify, and especially that we can learn about the common perceptual errors, right? So maybe sometimes, even though that we also teaching these things, in sometimes the being lecturers, we also do some perceptual errors. So especially that when we are marking papers, that we sometimes compare with the previous answer scripts. Automatically through our mindset that when we are doing, those mechanism will happen. So that may be not doing purposefully, right? That when we are marking papers, definitely that we think about how the previous answer, the previous candidate wrote the answer. So automatically we'll compare with the current one. So then that error we identified as a contrast error, right? So that will happen not only with while marking the papers. Maybe sometimes that when you are recruiting people, when you are promoting people, when you are assigning tasks for the people, right? So the last time he already did not complete the task as you expect. So then this time also that you feel he will not complete the task by comparing the previous performance. So you will take the decision. So then likewise that we can identify different type of errors maybe that can happen when we are dealing with people. So like halo effect, then that what we call contrast effect, then the recency effect, stereotyping. So likewise there are different type of errors, right, under perception that we are going to try to understand. We're ready to understand about these errors and to mitigate those things when you are working with people, right? So that halo effect means by looking at one characteristics, that one characteristic that we are going to explain the whole the activities of the person. So that when we are interviewing people, just like being a royalist, right? So being a royalist, you know, the royal is the well famous school. So then we assume that sometimes that he is from royal college or the royalist. So therefore that his performance may be good, right? By looking at only one character. So if you take decisions, maybe sometimes totally wrong, or maybe sometimes the first impression. So that the one candidate came to the interview, so without wearing properly, so just wearing the t-shirt and maybe the denim, so that first impression gave me bad. So that based on that impression, that we cannot predict. We cannot predict that his whole the activities, so the whole performance may be useless or that may be irregular. So likewise, that if we consider about these perception things, these perception errors, not only for the facing for your exam, but also in real life also, we can use these different theories, right? These theories for the interpretations. So then when we consider about here that well famous story coming under the perception, right? That coming under perception when we consider about that the six blind man theory. So then when the blind man see an elephant, so how they interpret the elephant. So the person who is touching the body, right, the body of the elephant, he think the elephant is a who? Srivantika, who is the elephant? Huh?
No one can say it's an elephant.
So then
Everyone blind.
how they explain about elephant?
By touching.
But they only touching or feel.
Yes, touching. Then how the person who is touching the body, how he identify elephant as?
It's a wall.
Yes, he thinks that it's like a wall. The elephant is like a wall. So who is touching tail?
It's a rope like thing.
Rope.
Yeah, he thinks that is a
Rope.
rope. Right. Who is touching ear?
It is a fan.
Yes, you think that it's like a fan. So likewise, that based on the reality, based on the experience, right? The based on the experience, that perception. So that's what the rationale, what the moral behind the story, right? The moral behind the story, what we can learn from the story, the perception. The perception may be vary person to person. So that's why I show you the picture, right? So then by looking at this picture, the way of interpreting, the how you identify the situation or how you give the meaning for that same situation may be differ. So how it differ? Because that is definitely based on your past experience, right? Past experience and your knowledge, your attitudes, not only that your characteristics, but also the object characteristics and environmental characteristics also have impact. So therefore that we should have idea about why the same thing that we are looking differently, right, in different manner. So when we consider about the things, maybe sometimes that is beyond the reality. You know that elephant is not a rope, right? So that the way of how we interpret may be definitely different. So then what is this?
Wind.
Huh?
Wind.
What's something?
Roman letters.
Wind, madam.
Is that the arrows only or that interpret something?
Wind. Interpret something.
Yes. Yes. So that is the word of wind. Peno the wind kelega. Huh? So you just can, yes.
Yes, madam. Yes.
Yes. So this is W-I-N, wind. Right. So then how you just interpret the things? Maybe sometimes, what is this? So what is this?
E.
Yes, that is letter E, right? Letter E. So that how you interpret this one, that by filling up, those who already emitted that those parts that by filling up by using your knowledge, right? So sometimes that sometimes we try to do that, right? Try to do that. Maybe sometimes if you have little information, right? Little information by filling up. So there's things that we just try to, interpret. So likewise that we can add it, even that we can see here that like a what? Just like a scalp, right? Just like a scalp. So then here, so actually that is that is a picture. The lady who is in front of the mirror, right? So likewise, yes, likewise that when we consider about the perception, right? The perception here. So there are a lot of things, the factors in the perceiver, right? The factors of the situation and factors of the target, right? So those things have an impact on the interpretation. So there may be a lot of, right, like the images, right, that we can identify if you just Perception. Images. Yeah. It's okay. Mm. Yeah. So that can you see here that you can see the pictures that were which I already use. Huh? So then here, like even though it's like a waterfall, right, that we can identify. So that by looking at this picture, what you can see is visible. This one. Is visible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And this one, what we can see.
Old lady's picture and a boy or girl who is turning that side.
So if you see in one angle, that you can see that here the old lady, right? This is the old lady's nose. That this is the mouth and that's just wearing something like that. But if you see another angle, that you can see young lady is looking at side, so that you can see that here this is her eyes, right? This is her chin. Is visible for you?
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, that one lady is the young lady. The young lady is inside, right? So likewise, that the same picture, right? The same picture that we can see in different manner. So that for the perception, right? The perception that by looking at this one, what you can see. Here, this one.
A vase and two faces.
Yes. So the vase and the similarly here that this one is you can see. So the likewise the if you focus about the this is the figure, right? The figure it's like a vase, the black one. The black one is like a vase, but when we consider about the background we can see the white two faces, right? Two white faces. So likewise, that when we consider about there are so many, right? There are so many pictures for the interpretation that we can use when we're teaching. So then the thing is actually that what we have to explain. The have you, even though the same picture, same thing, then how you interpret may be different. So the perception means how you view, how you interpret, right? How you view or how you interpret the world around us. The perception refers the way we view world around us, right? So that how we give the meaning, to the what we have surrounding, right? Or maybe sometimes how we explain the things in simply. So that is actually perception is the process. As you know, even though that within very few minutes, through our that I think that you already a good understanding about the things how happen in biological, right? So that we just see something by using our not only to see, we can hear the seeing, hearing, touching, tasting all these things by using our five senses. Then how we work out, right? So then by using all these sensory impression, how we give a meaning, how we give a meaning to the environment. That's where we identify it as a process, right? The perception is a process, that interpretation about the external environment. That may be sometimes, most of the time, that will be based on our previous experience, right? Previous experience. So then here we can identify perception is a process which an individual organize and use their sensory impressions and interpret their sensory impression information in order to give a meaning to their environment. So that is the the methodical interpretation, the definition, right? The perception is a process which an individual organize and interpret their sensory information. So to give a meaning to the environment. So what are our sensory information? So I will explain these things that here. By using this process, right? So what do you mean by that? Normally that we are using what are our five senses? What are our five senses? Eyes,
Nose, mouth.
nose, mouth, ears, touch, right? So what are our sensory impressions? The stimulus from eye that we will see, sight,
Vision.
right? By eye, ears, sound, by the nose, smell. So then,
Taste.
yeah,
Taste.
taste and touch, right? Texture. So then use stimulus. So we identified as the sensory receptors or the sensory impressions, right? Sensory impressions or the sensory receptors. So then that we should have to pay the attention. So we can see actually, can see that when we are doing the things, just say for example now, right? So now that you are listening to the lecture, so while you are listening to lecture, that you can see 1,000 things surrounding you. Maybe sometimes you can hear 1,000 sounds, right? So many things. There's so many things happening around us. What? But that your focus, that for your focus is where that retain, that you try to keep your focus, your concentration on lecture. So why is that? Because that you feel that is important for you. So then that is the attention and selection, the filtering of information. So that while you are traveling on your way, I just say for example, the suddenly that the Vikramarachi, your university desired to conduct classes physically, right? Not through online. Maybe sometime that you just want to, so therefore you are just traveling from Jaffna to your university. So then you just want to find out the place, the boarding place. So then throughout your journey from Jaffna to here, maybe sometimes that you are seeking some place to board, right? So that is based on the importance, right? Your wish, your desire. So that the small situation, the small example that you can apply for all life, not only for that one. I just say, for example, that by the way, that you are just waiting to meet someone in the bus hall. There are thousands of things around in town, right? It may be buses that going here and there, then maybe the peoples are moving. But that you are just waiting for someone and you just looking for someone, then you just paid your attention. You are not going to attract all these things, whatever surrounding. You just like to filter only the relevant information. That is attention. That based on different factors, maybe your importance, right? Maybe sometimes the some factors with the object. So even though that you just searching someone out of 4,000 people, that you already attract some person. The one is just have a purple color hair, right? So all the people already having the black color hair, but someone is already purple color hair. So maybe sometimes contrast of the object. The object is somewhat different, somewhat novel. So those things will be attract. Those things will be paid that attract our attention quickly than others. So therefore, that through perception process that we are going to identify how we organize the things then through attention, and after that how we are going to interpret it. Then the way of interpreting the things may be our response, right? Our response rely on that. So just for example, it's when we consider about the work setting. So that work setting, then that if we identify there's two persons on the corridor, right? So they are loudly speaking. Then through your by using your five senses, your eye and your ears, right? So then there's a big sound, and also that you already saw that they are loudly talking, right? So those stimulus and attention that you already identified them are those two persons from the salary department, and the one is production department, or maybe the doctor and the nurse, right? Or the doctor and the nurse, those in the corridor that they are loudly speaking, right? So then how you are going to interpret it? Right? So there are so many. So there are so many things surrounding that when we are passing corridor. So there are the patients in the wards, and that some visitors visit the patients. So there are so many things surrounding, but that why the nurse and doctor, that conversation only focus you. So that why you put the attention on that. So that based on your interest maybe. That based on that that they may be outstanding that the other sceneries, right? So something neat. That's why it's already catch your attraction, and that how you interpret that situation. So maybe sometimes you feel that that there's maybe something going wrong, that there's a quarrel, that there's a fight, right? So then what is your response? Maybe sometimes you are going to involve for that. Maybe sometimes you try to escape, avoid, right? So likewise, the small incident, right? Small incidents to explain this perception process, right? The perception process. So therefore, that what we consider about the perception is process, right? It's a process, and individual try to collect sensory informations, and they try to organize it and interpret to give a meaning to the environment, right? Environment. So I think that you already just have small idea uh, about the perception, because definitely that perception affects to decision making, and also in workplace that will help us to communicate, and especially the conflict resolution, leadership, performance appraisal. Right, you maybe have good understand about later on how those things have an impact on those different, especially different HR functions. Right? So then we can identify here onwards about the perception process, but that will take more time to understand this perception process. So therefore that I will going to stop from here, so that before winding up today's session, do you have anything to clarify, students? So if not, shall I wind up?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, madam.
So okay.
Thank you,
Thank
madam.
you, madam.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, madam.
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 You're most welcome.